the suppression, the use of marijuana.
What is going on, Jets Nation? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Richie Malora, and we have some stuff to get into today, man. Another day of dysfunction. Another hit piece comes out against Woody Johnson and the New York Jets organization. You know, this has been all over the place all morning, all day, and I wanted to just, go live and read it with you guys and kind of break it down, my thoughts of the article. It's on The Athletic. We're going to go through the article together. Hit the like button on your way in, man. Subscribe to the channel. Shout out to BetUS, as always, for sponsoring Jets Media. And I don't want to waste any more of your time. Let's just get into it, man, because I haven't read the article myself. I've just seen, snippets of it on X, people screenshotting them. I've seen people talking about it, but I haven't, went through the article myself, which is what I want to do right now and react to it with you guys. So buckle up. Here we go, man. Buckle up as we're going through a Woody Johnson article written by Diana Rossini, Zach Rosenblatt, and the headliner is Woody Johnson's Jets, Madden ratings, a lost season, and the most dysfunctional place imaginable. It's ridiculous. Now, first and foremost, I have no idea if we can take this seriously. I don't know what's true or not. I don't know if we should take these reports and say, yes, this is exactly what happened, or not. I just don't. That's number one. That's something I just want to make sure. These are all alleged, and I don't know who's lying. There's some contradicting reports. Even if 15% of this is true, it's still eye-opening. All right? But at the same time, it's Woody Johnson we're talking about, so it's pretty believable. So hit the like button, guys. Let's get into this freaking article already. Oh, here we go. And shout out to everybody in the chat. I see you all, man. Hit the like button right now if you are enjoying the content. All right. Enough of me talking. Woody Johnson decided to do his own research. That's how this article starts. Again, this is my first reaction reading it. So you're going to react to me live reading this article with you guys. I haven't read it myself from top to bottom. Woody Johnson decided to do his own research. Okay. The New York Jets owner was at his house in Palm Beach, Florida, last February discussing potential offseason acquisitions with team decision makers as they watched game tape. Wide receiver Jerry Jeudy, a former Denver Broncos first-round pick, flashed on the screen. Jets GM Joe Douglas expressed interest, according to someone familiar with the meeting. Johnson took out his phone and started typing. Uh-oh. A few weeks later, Douglas and his Broncos counterpart, George Patton, were in deep negotiations for a trade that would have sent Jeudy to the Jets and given future Hall of Fame quarterback Aaron Rodgers another potential playmaker. The Broncos felt a deal was near. Then, abruptly, it all fell apart. In Denver's executive offices, they couldn't believe the reason why. So apparently the Broncos knew the reason why. Okay. Douglas told the Broncos that Johnson did not want to make the trade because the owner felt Jeudy's player rating in Madden NFL, the popular video game, wasn't high enough. I refuse to believe that's even true, but probably is. The Broncos ultimately traded the wide receiver to the Browns last Sunday. Jeudy crossed the 1,000 receiving mark for the first time in his career. So, right there, man. I mean, I can't even stomach that as being true. I really don't want to, talk about how that's true. What are we doing? We look at Madden as a standpoint on who we should trade for. Jerry Jeudy was a player I remember falling in love with him as a prospect coming out of Alabama. I wanted the Jets to draft him, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, chat, that's the draft that we got Becton, right? And then he went to the Broncos, and yeah, I think that was the same draft. The Jets decided to go left tackle. I really love Jerry Jeudy, and it seemed like Joe Douglas did as well. Douglas wanted to trade for him. Now, in hindsight, if we traded for Jerry Jeudy, we probably don't have Devontae Adams right now. If we traded for Jerry Jeudy, are we even better right now? You know, that's not the point. The point is Woody Johnson is getting his hands on every decision. He did not let Joe Douglas do his work. Joe Douglas wanted to make a trade for a player, and Woody Johnson came involved, and he's like, no, you're not doing this, bro. My son told me he's not good in Madden, so you can't trade for him. I can't believe those words just came out. I feel like I'm being pranked. It's hard for me to believe this. Brick Johnson, if you're watching this live show, congrats on running the Jets. And I'm wishing you nothing but the best, because if you are running this organization, Brick Johnson, the son of Woody Johnson, I'm a Jets fan, and I want the Jets to win. So all I ask you, Brick, is just make the right hire, and I'm supporting you guys. Come on, Brick. Brick Johnson, you got this. Come on, baby. But just don't use Madden as your tool to evaluate players. That's only one thing I'll say is for advice. Coming into this season, the Jets had hopes of ending the 13-year playoff drought, the longest in the 4 major men's North American sports. Well, thanks for the clarification there, Diana Rossini. In quieter years of talk about the franchise's dysfunction, instead, the season has been cemented the Jets' reputation. Head coach Robert Saleh was fired 5 games into the campaign. Douglas was fired 6 weeks later. Johnson suggested benching Rodgers due to poor performance. A Jets spokesperson said the owner was, quote, being proactive. He made the statement in jest to see how it would be handled. A week later, the Jets traded for Devontae Adams, the all-pro wideout, and Rodgers' close friend and his former teammate in Green Bay. New York has stumbled to a 4-10 record and will miss the postseason for the 14th straight season. So the whole notion that Woody Johnson wanted Rodgers benched, I just don't get that. Now he's saying it was a joke, but Diana Rossini said that he was serious. I don't know what's true anymore, man. I really don't. Another offseason of turnover waits, and at the root of the franchise's problems is Johnson, who was characterized as an over-involved, impulsive owner in conversations with more than 20 people in and around the Jets organization, current and former players, coaches, and team executives who were granted, and now me, okay. They keep on doing the same thing over and over. They change the football people. The football people are not the issue, one former executive said. It's, hey, I have brain cancer, and, well, just cut off your foot. Johnson, who declined the Athletics' request for comment, interesting, soared on his franchise quarterback less than a year after betting big on him. Wow. Denigrated his own players in the locker room and seemed to follow decision-making advice from his teenage sons, according to various team and league sources. And the proposed Jeudy trade wasn't the only time Johnson cited Madden ratings when evaluating players. Oh, my goodness. There are organizations where it is all set up for you to win. Set a player with the team in 2023. It feels completely different with the Jets. It's the most dysfunctional place imaginable. Okay, now, chat, let's try to figure out who this player is. Who was on the Jets in 2023 that's not on the Jets anymore talking smack? Is it John Franklin Myers? Is it Mekhi Becton? Who do you guys think it is? Let's try to figure it out. Who is the Jets player from 2000? Is it Zach Wilson, maybe? From 2023 that is speaking to the reporters and saying these things? What do you guys think? Bryce Huff? Who is it? It's one of these people. Ahead of the Jets-Giants what is this YouTube video they're talking about? Why Madden caused the Jets to nix a trade. No. Ahead of the Jets-Giants preseason finale at MetLife Stadium in 2019, an administrative assistant popped into the team's coaching office to make an announcement to then head coach Adam Gase and his staff. Woody Johnson, then serving as U.S. ambassador of the U.K. in the Trump administration, was temporarily returning from London. The assistant said everyone should refer to Johnson as Mr. Ambassador. Oh, my goodness. Ego. That has held true long after Johnson left government and returned to his role as Jets chairman in January 2021, striking a blah, 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 blah. All right, seems like the Jets did not welcome him back with open arms. They actually liked him in the UK. Quote, I guess that's what you'd call him, one assistant coach said. I'd never been around royalty before. Oh, my goodness. Johnson is an heir to the Johnson & Johnson pharmaceutical fortune, but he spends most of his working days at the Jets facility in Florham Park and often meets with the head coach and GM. When he bought the team, in 2000, Johnson thought he was inheriting Bill Belichick as a coach, handpicked by Bill Parcells to take over before Parcells resigned. Belichick lasted only one day, scribbling, quote, "I resign as head coach of the New York Jets" on a napkin at his introductory news conference before bolting for the New England Patriots. Damn, that's crazy that this is what Belichick wrote on a napkin. "I resign as HZ of the NYJ." This is crazy. Guys, is this real? Like, what am I even reading, bro? This can't be real. The legendary coach has spent much of the past 2 decades torturing the Jets franchise on the field and off of it. While out of coaching this fall, Belichick mocked Johnson in various media appearances. Belichick's camp also reached out to the Jets about their vacant head coaching vacancy. In an appearance on ESPN's Madden cast during a Monday Night Football game between the Jets and the Bills, New York's first game since firing Saleh, Belichick described the owner's approach to running the organization as ready, fire, aim. Many who have been part of the Jets organization during Johnson's tenure heard that comment and agreed. Others pointed to the owner's words on October 15th, and the Jets acquired Adams, when Johnson said thinking is overrated. "Woody is just acting on instinct," said a Jets current executive. "With Woody, it's like, I'm right, prove me wrong. You don't know what to expect. He's been right enough just with his random opinions that a bad decision doesn't dissuade him. And when he's wrong, who's going to hold him accountable?" It's true. There's nobody above Woody Johnson to hold him accountable. During the annual NFL draft, Johnson is known to keep himself while decisions are being made, according to one former executive, then exit the room and retreat to a nearby snack bar with oh my God. To make smart-ass lines about the front office's decisions. Oh, God. This is where I'm going to get pissed, aren't I? Team decision-makers didn't appreciate Johnson's after-the-fact critiques, but the owner was occasionally proven correct. The executive remembers Johnson being especially vocal when the former GM Mike McCagnon drafted quarterback Christian McCaffrey. What's wrong with my brain? Christian Hackenberg out of Penn State in the second round of the 2016 draft. Hackenberg never played a regular season snap for the Jets. Well, I guess he was right on that one. Some inside the organization believe Johnson is consumed with the public perception of this franchise, sometimes at the expense of on-the-field success. When the Jets traded Zach Wilson to the Broncos last April, Denver asked Douglas to include the final pick of the draft. According to a source familiar with the negotiations, Johnson instructed Douglas to instead trade the 256th pick, which the Jets also owned, so New York could select Mr. Irrelevant, the final pick of the draft, who is annually celebrated upon his selection. Can you believe that? The source said. He thought he needed the Mr. Irrelevant pick to get a Brock Purdy, the final pick of the 2022 draft. I don't think that's ever happened in the history of the NFL. A team wanted a worse pick. So I remember when the Jets made that trade, I'm like, wow, the Jets are holding on to Mr. Irrelevant. And if you guys remember, Mr. Irrelevant is celebrated. By the way, the player the Jets drafted, Mr. Irrelevant's not on the team anymore, Jalen Key, safety. And when you make the Mr. Irrelevant pick, they're celebrated. They are wearing a Mr. Irrelevant jersey, and the New York Jets brand is out there. This is the point that Woody Johnson cares about the optics and a business of this team more than success. He went with the worst pick in order to celebrate the New York Jets emblem and the branding. Because Mr. Irrelevant, the last pick in the draft, every year is celebrated. They get a jersey that says Mr. Irrelevant on it. They go to Disney World. I mean, let me see if I can find it. Mr. NFL, Mr. Irrelevant 2024. See? Look, I'm not making it up. You type it in. They have a whole thing to do with it. Mr. Irrelevant, right? Mr. Irrelevant. Oh, it's a fun thing. Mr. Irrelevant's fun. See, the Jets branding is behind it. Yeah, the Jets are part of Mr. Irrelevant. This is why Woody Johnson wanted this to keep this pick, so we can have Mr. Irrelevant. And I'm pretty sure, like, that he was invited to go to Disney World or something weird. All right. This is just an example. Woody Johnson prefers to be on, in a world of New York Jets branding rather than success. Now, pick 256 compared to 257. Is it that much of a difference? No, but it's still a worse pick. So it just shows you where his mindset is at with this team. The Broncos used pick 256 to take an offensive guard who is now on the Broncos active roster. The Jets used the Mr. Relevant pick on Alabama safety Jalen Key, who didn't survive the final roster cutdown. Wow, so I didn't even know that the Broncos took somebody that is on the active roster. Backup offensive lineman. Just of course. Of course. All right. Johnson weighs in on matters throughout the organization from lineup decisions. He forced interim head coach Jeff Ulbrich to bench starting safety Tony Adams. To the team's schedule, he wanted the Jets to practice during their bye week, much to the jargon of team leaders. He's like most team owners, the team spokesperson said. He asked questions of his staff to better understand what their plans are. Your job becomes managing Woody, a current team executive said. That's not unique for an NFL GM. The difference here is that not only are you managing Woody, but you have to manage all the people who influence it. That could be family, that could be media, that could be people in the building. I'm still wondering why he wanted to bench Tony Adams so much. I know Tony Adams wasn't fantastic. I know that he wasn't balling out. He's not a great safety. But did Tony Adams do something that just makes Woody want him benched? Right? Oh, my goodness. And there he is. The legend, Woody Johnson. When Woody left for the UK in 2017, his sons Brick and Jack were 11 and 9, respectively. When he returned, they were teenagers. Last year, Johnson started including his sons in some team meetings at the team facility. For some Jets employees, the sons' increasing involvement clarified their father's, oh my goodness, Jets X Factor. Look at that. Brick and Jack, the two sons, read Jets X Factor. And they show Woody what Jets X Factor is producing. That's crazy. That's crazy. I wonder if they ever shared a post from me, sharing posts from X. I'm obviously very vocal on X. The Jets follow me on X, so I am assuming that Woody Johnson has came across one of my posts on X. Who knows? When we're discussing things, you'll hear Woody cite something that Brick or Jack read online that's being weighted equally against whatever opinion someone else is in the department has. Quote, I answered to a teenager, Douglas quipped to people close to him before the season. Acknowledgement of the perceived power dynamic. I answered to a teenager, Joe Douglas had to say. Joe Douglas realized the decision I make has to go through a teenager who's looking at our X posts in order to it to be passed. I blame all of you in the chat for being active on X because we have a voice. I'm kidding. But that's crazy, bro. The dynamic is true. Joe Douglas had to answer to a teenager, bro. That's unbelievable. This is crazy, bro. This is just unbelievable. Johnson's reference to Judy's Madden rating was, to some in the Jets organization, a sign of Brick and Jack's influence. Another example came when Johnson pushed back on signing free agent guard John Simpson due to a lackluster of awareness rating in Madden. The Jets signed Simpson anyway, and he had a solid season. PFF currently has him graded as the 8th best guard in the NFL. Awareness rating in Madden? What? Nah, dog. This can't be true. This can't. I gotta stop this, man. I'm being pranked, bro. This isn't real. Somebody tell me this is not real life, bro. Somebody. I feel like his awareness rating in Madden, this has to be fake news. There's no way this is real. No way. You can't sign him. His awareness rating in Madden isn't great. Oh, God. I guess it's real, man. I don't know. The Jets spokesperson disputed the idea that Brick and Jack's observations impact the organization's decision-making process. It is used as a reference point. It is not determinative. Okay, the spokesperson said. It's really sad that an adult would use a misleading... Oh my God, man. It's ridiculous, quite honestly, the idea that this was used to influence the opinion of experienced executives. The Suns have no roles in the organization. It's completely ridiculous to suggest that any outside info is intended to replace the opinions of Woody Johnson's staff. I wonder who said this. This is defending Woody. The Johnson family's behavior inside the Jets locker room has also become an issue, according to a team and league sources. NFL locker rooms are restricted access spaces typically limited to players, coaches, team personnel, and media members. But Brick and Jack have brought friends, male and female, into the locker room. And current and former players and coaches told The Athletic that Woody Johnson, his wife, and his sons criticized players inside the locker room. You want to talk about culture, bro? You want to talk about culture? This is culture. This is the Jets culture that we're getting. Oh, my God. In 2022, QB Mike White played through broken ribs in late season against the Seahawks with postseason hopes on the line. White played poorly. The Jets lost and were eliminated from playoff contention. After the game, the QB, in the showers after throwing his helmet to the locker room floor, multiple Jets players said they heard Woody Johnson say, "You should throw your helmet. You effing suck." The statement got back to White. The team's spokesperson said Johnson apologized to the QB, who declined to comment for this story. Did I just read that properly? That can't be real. Are you kidding me? Our own owner just went out there and said to Mike White, a quarterback of the Jets, that you effing suck? The audacity. That really pisses me off, man. That pisses me off. I'm not going to lie. This is pissing me off, man. I got to relax. Our owner did that? What? Mike White, who was like the only bright spot of that season, got his ribs cracked the week prior to that game, remember? Goes out there and, tries to play. Obviously, he exceeded his own expectations, and he's trying to play well. He fails, and he hears the owner of the team that he's playing for say that you effing suck? Are you? Whether Mike White sucks or not, that's not the point. You don't do that, man. We're talking about culture here. We're talking about having a winning locker room. The locker room, you see this. You know the word how culture is thrown around everywhere? It starts upstairs. It's to set standard. It's about respect. It's about treating your players with authenticity, with respect, treating their families well. And we're seeing Woody Johnson's son bring his friends in the locker room. Like, yeah, come on in. I'm the son of the owner of the New York Jets. Come on, let's see this guy in the shower. Like, what? That's a private area for these players. Get them out of the locker room, Woody. Get your sons out of the locker room, and how about you get out of the locker room as well? This is the epitome of a losing culture. No wonder why all the players that are here, even if they play well individually, it never translates to wins. And whenever they go elsewhere, Mekhi Becton thriving in Philadelphia, Sam Darnold thriving in Minnesota. I mean, the list goes on in terms of players that leave the Jets that thrive elsewhere. The list goes on. This is so wild, bro. You talk about a losing culture. I mean, he's just not a good person. How do you say that to your own player? Whether Mike White is good or bad, that's not the point. Whether Woody Johnson saying Mike White stinks, yeah, Mike White stinks. He's right, bro. Woody should never say that. The owner of your team should never call your own player suck. Gosh, man. In the post-game locker room after last year's Week 17 loss to Cleveland, multiple players said that they heard Johnson's son loudly disparage. Oh, my goodness. This year on Halloween night, the Jets registered their first victory since Saleh's firing 4 weeks earlier. It was a significant moment for a struggling team. Rodgers walked into an energized locker room with the game ball in hand, and it was expected that he'd give the ball to Ulbrich, a customary gesture when a coach gets his first NFL win. But before Rodgers could speak, Brick Johnson took another game ball and awarded it to wide receiver Garrett Wilson in a profanity-laced exclamation, which the owner's son later posted to Instagram. Woody Johnson then gave Ulbrich the ball Rodgers has been holding. Multiple players said the energy felt drained out of the room. It was the most awkward, cringeworthy, brutal experience, one player said. Who the heck is talking to these reporters in this locker room, man? There's a leak problem. First of all, if all this is true or not, like, the fact that we have players on our team that is going out of their way to tell the reporters what's going on is annoying, by the way, because it's exposing private things. Like, there's players on this team that are literally, like, talking to reporters, and I don't know if these reporters are bribing them, like, hey, we'll pay you X amount of dollars to tell us what actually happened. And, like, you know, they know they'll never get exposed as a source. I wonder who it is. It was the most awkward. Like, the Jets beat the Texans. Garrett Wilson had the greatest catch of the season, and it had to be an awkward moment still because of Woody Johnson and his son. The high point of the Johnson-Rodgers marriage came at Rodgers' news conference when he spoke to the Jets' lone Super Bowl trophy won in 1969, looking a little lonely. New York entered 2023 season as one of the league's busiest teams and potentially Super Bowl contenders. And the Jets were selected to appear on HBO's Hard Knocks during training camp. Johnson wore a custom-made chain featuring 80 carats of emeralds and diamonds, spelling out Woody, a gift from star corner Sauce Gardner. Then Rodgers tore his Achilles on the fourth play, blah, 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 okay. Rodgers rehabbed. All right, where's this going now? In Week 14, New York was mathematically eliminated with a 30-0 loss to the Dolphins. Rodgers preferred to rehab on his own in L.A. with an eye towards the 2024 season, but Johnson, according to team sources, insisted that Rodgers practiced with the team, so the quarterback reluctantly returned to New York. When Rodgers was actively off injured reserve 5 days before Christmas, which resulted in the release of fullback Nick Bowden, Rodgers said on Pat McAfee that the move wasn't his idea. There was a conversation. Do you want to practice? And I said, not at the expense of somebody getting cut. I know how this works, Rodgers said. I didn't feel like I needed to practice to continue my rehab. I could do on-the-field stuff on the side, but obviously I got overruled there. Several players and coaches, Garrett Wilson and running back Breece Hall in particular, were unhappy with offensive coordinator Nathaniel Hackett. There were rumblings that Johnson wanted to fire Hackett, so Rodgers, who considers the coach a close friend, brought it up with the owner at the end of the season. The conversation didn't go over well with Johnson, according to a current Jets executive. Oh, my God. Is this ever going to end, bro? Like, it just gets worse as we keep going. Johnson ultimately didn't force Saleh to fire Hackett, as he had with Mike LaFleur after the 2022 season. In the offseason, Saleh tried to hire a veteran OC to join the staff, potentially reduce Hackett's role. Speaking with Arthur Smith, Cliff Kingsbury, oh my God. Rodgers got on the phone in an attempt to recruit, but each coach took jobs with offensive coordinator titles elsewhere. Before the season, according to a team source, Johnson demanded that Saleh's signature phrase, all gas, no brakes, be stripped off the wall. Another completely out of context and false narrative, the team spokesperson said. That was removed as part of the entire organizational rebrand. Saleh later introduced a new team motto, Love and Regard, which was not displayed on the facility's walls. Well, the motto, all gas, no brake, was an ultimate failure, so I don't blame them. Rodgers and Johnson spoke on October 7th, just after the loss of the Vikings in London to drop to 2-3, a game behind the Bills in the AFC East, with Buffalo coming to MetLife Stadium. Blah, blah, blah. According to a team source, Rodgers implored Johnson to stay patient. The following morning, Saleh called Rodgers to let him know he was demoting Hackett and installing passing game coordinator Todd Downing as a new play caller. Rodgers made it clear to Saleh that he did not agree with the decision so much that Saleh told his staff to get backup Tyrod Taylor ready to play in case a banged-up, disgruntled Rodgers wouldn't, according to a team source. Wait a second. Let me reread that again. The following morning, Saleh called Rodgers to let him know he was demoting Hackett and installing passing game coordinator Todd Downing, the new play caller. Rodgers made it clear to Saleh that he did not agree with the decision, so much so that Saleh told his staff to get backup Tyrod Taylor ready to play in case a banged-up, disgruntled Rodgers wouldn't. Wow. Okay. Shortly afterward, around 10 a.m., Woody and Christopher Johnson, Woody's brother and the Jets' vice chairman, walked into Saleh's office. Woody told Saleh he was fired. Saleh asked why. Woody told him he didn't think Saleh could turn the season around and that the team needed a spark. Then the Johnsons walked out of the room. What a great, the Jets needed a spark. Saleh had the team 2-3. We've won twice since. So, obviously, we went backwards firing Saleh, Woody Johnson. Idiot. Ulbrich installed as the interim head coach. Went forward with Saleh's plan to demote Hackett and managed to calm the waters with Rodgers, who hadn't been in favor of firing Saleh, according to multiple team sources. On December 3rd, on the McAfee Show, Rodgers, in reference to the 12-2 Detroit Lions, talked about how much of a difference it makes when owners back their coaches and GMs, both privately and publicly. The next day, he was asked by members of the media if he felt the Jets' ownership operates that way. Is that a rhetorical question, Rodgers said. I cited an example I've seen. There were other examples in Green Bay, both for and maybe not, as for whoever was in charge, but I think it's an important part of ownership to hire the right guys, set the vision, and support them when the outside world is trying to tear them down. On follow-up, he was asked again whether he believes that's been done in New York. I'd have to look, he replied. I'll ask you guys, has there been a lot of public comments, supportive comments? The response from reporters that day, not really. There have been firings. Quote, yeah, there's your answer, Rodgers replied. The Jets kept the exchange out of the transcript of Rodgers' news conference. Interesting. The Jets removed that. How long is this article, boy? Damn, it keeps going. Oh, there's so much in this article, guys. There's so much in this article. Do me a favor if you're enjoying me breaking it down. Don't forget to like the show, guys. I really do appreciate it. Simply hitting the like button goes a long way for the channel. Let's get back to it. We got to finish this thing, right? In addition to firing head coach and GM and suggesting the benching of their star quarterback, Johnson has pursued cuts across the Jets organization. This offseason, he forced Saleh to fire 5 coaches and wouldn't allow Douglas to replace former assistant GM Rex Hogan, who Johnson forced Douglas to fire in January. The open role was used to reorganize the staff, the team spokesperson said. The notion that he didn't want that position replaced is untrue. The responsibilities were filled by employees who deserve promotions. Okay. The Jets didn't hire officials for training camp, a standard practice in the NFL after being the most penalized team in the league. They are the 3rd most penalized team in 2024. They did not have officials for the 2 joint practices. I remember being at joint practices wondering why there's no officials. I thought that. Several men from Johnson's investment group have been attending free agent, draft, and other football operations meetings at Johnson's behest over the last year, according to a current Jets executive. They've also interviewed Jets employees from across the organization about their roles and ways they feel the Jets can improve. It was a positive initiative that identified real gaps in processes and communication and collaboration, the Jets spokesperson said. Woody Johnson values the independent feedback. It's a way to avoid groupthink. We learned a lot from it. Great. Multiple Jets employees refer to the group of men as the Bobs. Oh my God, the Bobs. A nod to the condescending corporate efficiency consultants from the film Office Space. The arrival of the Bobs has only heightened a sense of dread around the building, where some employees don't feel like they can speak freely. Wow. There's no nice way to say what we need to say, which is, unless we drastically alter our culture And the way we do things from the top down, we have no chance, one executive said. There's not a comfortable environment where you can speak your mind and try to address things that could improve the situation. You have to tiptoe around it. This is terrible, man. You talk about culture. These guys that work for the New York Jets organization don't feel like they have a voice. They get hired to be an executive, and they don't feel like they have a floor to stand on to speak their mind of where the Jets should go. God, man, this is pissing me off. The Jets spokesperson disputed the characterization. That's just a false premise, the spokesperson said. Woody really just seeks out and welcomes feedback and debate. We wouldn't have been named one of the best places to work in New Jersey if people thought that way. There's never been a complaint. All right, someone's defending Woody. Is this almost done, bro? I'm at the end. Here we go. Fine. As recently as 3.5 years ago, there was a different atmosphere at Florham Park. Woody Johnson's absence during the first Trump presidential term meant that Christopher was running the show. Like Woody, Christopher Johnson was influenced perhaps too heavily by media coverage. One team source said he was known to lean on prominent media members for advice during the head coach and GM searches in 2019. But the impression he gave to many in the building was that he wanted to give the keys to the people he hired and let them take the wheel. Chris was really, really laid back, said a former Jets coach. He's not really a person with any type of ego. When he would talk with you, he was really a regular dude. He never acted like he was the owner or he was in charge. He was just basically trying to get along. When Christopher Johnson hired Douglas and Saleh, both were under the impression that when he returned, Woody would take a similar hands-off approach, then quickly learned how wrong that assumption was as Woody took control as Chris stepped back. It's not like he just disappeared, but you wouldn't know if Chris was in the building or even in the room, a former Jets exec said. He's just so quiet and reserved, and that's not a bad thing. I mean, that's exactly what we kind of need, so maybe we should. Maybe Woody should take that term again, even though that's not happening. Some Jets employees hoped Woody might retake his ambassadorship in the UK after Donald Trump was elected president in November, which would once again put Christopher in charge. But on December 2nd, Trump nominated billionaire Arkansas investor Warren Steffens to the post. According to team sources, the decision came as a surprise to the Jets owner. So Woody Johnson was expected to go again. As the Jets close the 2024 season, they'll enter an offseason promising wholesale change. Familiar territory of an organization that hasn't found much stability since Johnson brought the franchise from Leon Hess in 2000. In 25 years, the Jets have employed 8 interim or full-time head coaches, 9 if you count Belichick, 7 GMs. They'll need another new head coach and new GM and must decide if they want to bring Rodgers back for what will be his 21st NFL season if he wants to return. Those decisions remain Woody Johnson's to make. Well, that's the story. I mean, what did I just read, bro? That's a lot. There's so much nuggets in that one where I don't even know where to begin. I don't even know. The reality is, man, like hit piece after hit piece, article after article. And I think a big reason why these articles are coming out is because people in the Jets organization are not afraid to talk. We have Jets executives that work under Woody that's not afraid to talk to the media to expose Woody Johnson. We have players on the team today. We have players that were on the team last year that are not afraid to talk to the media members to expose what actually happened behind closed doors. And it's just exposing the sad truth that this Jets team, man, we have Woody Johnson's sons impacting things. We have Woody Johnson and my brain just can't comprehend this. $5 from Bijan. Woody would rather use Madden than have an actual analytics department. Ravens and Lions have cultural departments, and we have an owner that curses quarterbacks. Yep, you're right. Thank you for the super chat, man. Much appreciated. It's just like, I'm scratching my head. Like, what is going on? How do we get here, bro? We thought that it could never get worse, but every time an article like this comes out, it exposes us to get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. and worse and worse and worse and worse. Oh, boy. I don't know, man. This has been a tough time to cover this team. And I'm sorry to Jets fans that we have to go through with this. Woody Johnson's exposed yet again. Folks, if you could do me a favor, at least hit the like button. We're at 64 likes. I think we can get to 100 likes. And another thing you want to say is we don't know what's true or not in these articles. They could definitely be making stuff up just for clicks. That's how the media works sometimes. So it is The Athletic. I don't know if it's 100% factual or not. I have no idea. I'm just reading it. So take everything with a grain of salt. You don't have to believe everything in the article. I just want to present the article to you guys and read it with you all so we can talk and have an open discussion because the Jets are just a dysfunctional mess, man. And it's just making me wonder who's going to want to take this GM job after reading this. Like, who's going to want to, what GM is going to read that article and be like, yeah, I want to work under Woody Johnson, right? That's the one thing I'm nervous about. So we shall see. I don't know if it's true or not. We shall see, man. Buffalo Bills Rule says, I love the light up green Jets media light. Thank you, bro. I appreciate that, man. It's a lot of fun. I appreciate that, man. Thank you for the $2 super chat. Thank you for the $2 super chat, my guy. Much love to you. We always take the bait with things like this. Yeah, I mean, Henny, this is all we got, man. I mean, again, we don't know if it's true or not, but we got to talk about it. And I'm not saying it is true or not, but we have to talk about it. And there's an opportunity for us to come together and, realize that there is, a leak in the organization. Like, what makes us think it's not true? The sources that's telling them these things are former Jets players and active Jets players. I don't know. There's a chance that all this is false. But even if 20% of this is right, it's still concerning. There was so much in this article. Like, even if majority of it's just fake stuff, there has to be something that's real in this. So, if you're just tuning into the show, guys, we broke down the entire article. All right? We broke down literally the entire article. We read through the whole thing. If you guys want to read it for yourself, I'll put the link in the chat. But you needed a subscription to the article to read it yourself. Just put it in the chat if you guys want to check it out. But, man, crazy stuff, bro. Just absolutely wild stuff. Just unbelievable stuff, man. Really, really is crazy. Big shout out to this proud sponsor of Jets Media, man. We got BetUS Sportsbook right here as the proud sponsor. We got Saturday football. Mahomes is playing this weekend when we thought he was going to be hurt. If you guys want to make your bets, make sure you guys use the promo code YouTube150 when you sign up for BetUS today. Much love to BetUS as they are the proud sponsor of Jets Media all season long. Up to $2,000, get your deposits. Also, I'm about to be live on BetUS TV's The Huddle right now. So if you guys want to come through, we're about to be live on The Huddle on BetUS TV in literally less than 10 minutes. So go check me out over there. Appreciate everybody that's been tuning in. Shout out to BetUS for being the sponsor. I got to go. I got to get ready for The Huddle. That starts in 7 minutes. So thank you, everybody that was tuning into the show, man. I love you guys. And Jets fans, just keep your head high, man. Let's just hope we get the right hire in the GM search and the head coaching search and that Woody can get hands off. That's the only thing I can say, man. Jets fan till I die. Nothing's going to stop me that. I'm ready to embrace the dysfunction. All right? I'm ready to embrace the dysfunction. I'll talk to you guys later. Your boy's out. I'll see you on The Huddle. Peace, guys.